All right, folks, this is part 2 of the video. What I did for this one, I already took the liberty of putting the code together for the draw. But the reason why I did that, because it's, as you'll see, is a hot mess. So what I want to do, and you'll kind of pick up on it right away, is I really want to refactor my code because it's just not the best way to go about doing it. So when I click my draw button, and actually let me kind of show you what it looks like right now. So let me fire up, go to connect, and let me reset the connection. Let me do AI Companion, and let me fire up my App Inventor. And let me connect. All right, loading up. All right, and let me go to my camera here. All right, so there's my screen, all right, and when I click on my draw button, ultimately, and let me hide my Android guy, ultimately that's basically what I want to draw. It's a very simple block-shaped face and nothing more. So to get the code that we need in order to draw that autonomously on its own, we have this over here. Okay. Not wanting to open. There we go. Expand blocks. There we go. And as you can see, and I'm going to have to zoom out for this. Okay. All of these procedure calls, all right, that whole monster block right there was what I needed in order to get the Android guy to go around in a square, to draw the eyes separately, to draw the mouth separately. Because if you think about it, every single time that the Android is moving around, all right, moving the Android in position, all right, so initially by default the pen is down, so moving forward five movements, which each movement is 10 pixels, so a total of 50 pixels. I'm turning, going another 50 pixels, I'm turning, going another 50 pixels, turning, another 50 pixels, turning. So this basically draws the outside, shape of the face. What then I'm doing is I'm at my final turn, so I'm back where I started. I am now lifting the pencil up so it no longer draws lines. I'm moving forward 4 spaces, and then I'm turning 90 degrees, moving forward once, 10 pixels, dropping the pen down, and then I'm doing the forward turn, forward turn, forward turn, forward turn, and that's drawing the left side eye. I then pick the pen up, and then I move forward because I want to turn the Android guy, move across the upper portion of the left eye, move over one more slot of 10 pixels, which would basically be the bridge of the nose. And then I want to put the pen back down again and then do the forward turn, forward turn, forward turn, forward again, so that I'm drawing the right side eye. All right, and then what I'm doing is I'm picking the pen up, then turning, and then I'm moving forward because now my Android guy should be facing down. I'm moving forward 3 times. I'm turning 90 degrees so that we're now facing toward the left. Putting my pen down. I'm moving forward 10 pixels, drawing a 10 pixel line. Picking my pen up and then moving forward twice and then turning. And that gets me almost to where I started from in the very beginning. But as you can see, this is very inefficient coding. A lot of errors can occur, and I actually already spotted one in here as I'm looking over this. What I want to do is I'm going to want to refactor my code so that it is so much more easy to read rather than just this big nasty block of code. So when I break it down and I think about, and it's unfortunately it's not going to show here, but when I think about what I'm doing is I'm drawing that nice square shaped face. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to write a procedure call, and I'm going to have one procedure that I'm going to call like pixel 50 or 50 pixel, and the purpose of that, or block 50 I should say, and the purpose of that is I'm going to draw a block or a square that is going to be 50 pixel by 50 pixel in size. So then rather having this big monstrous block of code initially here, I'm going to have it in one separate procedure, and then I'm just going to call that 50 pixel block over here. So to do that, I'm going to go into my procedures. I want to grab the to procedure do. All right, I want to create a procedure. All right, and like I said, what I'm going to do is I'm going to rename this. Oops. Nope. There we go. I'm going to call it square 50. So I know I'm doing a 50 pixel square block. And just like we saw up here, what I'm going to do is I am going to I'm going to click on this so the whole thing drags out. And what I want to do is I want to go all the way down to the first 50 turn, second 50 turn, third 50 turn, and then fourth 50, and then turn. So let me kind of cut that off. Let me just grab this whole thing and let me put it in here. Oops, and I need that last turn as well because I want to get the Android in its proper orientation. All right, so if I plug this back in here like so, as you can see, I mean, the code is already shortened on the left-hand side by almost half the size. All right, and so rather than having all of this code plugged into my block over here, what I'm going to do now is in my procedures, I'm just going to call the new procedure that is established here, square 50, and I'm going to plug that in here. So the very first thing that the Android is going to do is going to draw a square of 50. And that'll get me right to where I need it to be, all right? Because I'm starting with the call forward, moving up 50 pixels, I'm turning right, moving across 50 pixels, turning right, which I'm now facing downward, 50 more pixels, turning right, which I'm now facing leftward, and then 50 more pixels, and then turning right again, which I'm now facing upward one more time. All right, and then what I'm doing over here is I'm positioning the Android in proper position. So I'm pulling my pen up, I'm moving forward 1, 2, 3, 4 spaces. So we're now creeping up toward the top of the square. I'm turning, I'm moving forward 10 pixels, I'm then dropping my pen and then forward turn, forward turn, forward turn, forward, and then there should be a turn here and then the pen up. All right, so this sequence of forward turn is the left eye that I'm drawing. And as you can see, it's a forward turn, forward turn, forward turn, forward turn. All right, so I'm going to have to separate this out a little bit. I want the turn to be connected into here. And then I want the pen up to be associated with that right there. So what we have in this little block of code here is we have the drawing of the left eye. And as you can see, all it is, it's a 10 by 10 square. So what I did over here, just like with the square 50, I'm going to do another one, and I'll call this one square 10. So I'm going to grab the procedure up top. All right, and I want to rename this square 10. And then I'm going to take all this code and I'm going to plug it in here. So then rather, and this actually still has to go back in here. So then rather than calling all this code, what I'm going to do is I'm going to place a square 10 in there. But I got to be careful though, because I need to place it in the proper spot. All right, and so the pen up was where I broke it off previously here. So again, the square 50 draws the outside square. I pull the pen up, I move the Android forward 10, which is going up the left side of the face, turning right 90 degrees, moving forward, dropping my pen, and then I want to draw the left eye. So I'm going to call the square 10 over here. And then what I want to do after I draw the square 10 is I want to move into position because I want to draw the right eye next. So what I want to do is I want to pull the pen up because I don't want to draw any lines currently. Okay, because right now we are faced going rightwards at the very top left corner of the left eye. I then pull the pen up. I want to move 10 pixels forward, right, which will put me at the top right corner of the left eye. I then want to move an additional 10 pixels forward, which will now move me to like basically over the bridge of the nose, so to say. And then I want to drop my pen, and then I want to again draw another square eye. So what I'm going to do, rather than having this code, as you can see, forward turn, forward turn, forward turn, forward turn, it's the same sequence of code over here. forward turn, forward turn, forward turn, forward, and then turn should be next. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back into my procedures, and I'm going to grab the square 10, all right, and I'm going to call that procedure once again. So now what I'm doing is I'm saving, refactoring, I'm cutting down on how much code that I need to write. So this block of code up here, right, is the same exact code that I have written over here. So I technically don't even need this anymore. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to chuck that in the garbage. All right, and so that will then put me at the top left-hand corner of the right eye now. All right, so so let me do a quick pause here and before just going through the whole thing. And I should have been testing this thing after every single thing, just so I can show you along the way. But as you put it together, you can see what's going on with that. So once it loads, oops, taking a while. Okay, here we go. So let me switch over to my camera. So as you can see right here, we have the square 50, which is the outside square of the face. We have the square 10 and the square 10, which should be both the eyes. So if this is working properly, we should be able to see the face as well as the eyes that are being drawn. So again, I have my device here. All right, I'm just going to click on Draw up top here. And as you can see, I'm going to then click on the Hide button to hide the Android. And as you can see, we've got the square shape of the face, and we got the two eyes in proper orientation. So the moving forward, when I had my pen up, was allowing me to jump over these white spaces in between, to the left of the eye and in between of the eye, to get my Android in position to then draw the 10 by 10 square in its proper position. So this exercise is a little bit more of just kind of finessing your way into moving the Android. And it's just, sometimes it's a little trial and error as well. But you know, with a little bit of finesse, you'll be able to get it done. This thing's gonna. Sometimes it does this. I don't understand why. Here we go. Reset connection. All right. So I have my two procedures that I drew over here. All right. And so now I got to hook up the rest. So we now are at the top left-hand corner of the right eye. So what I need to do now is I need to pull my pen up, because I need to make sure that I don't draw, because I want to move down to the mouth now and draw the mouth. So I pull my pen up, and then what I need to do is, because right now I am facing, or at least I should be facing upward. I'm sorry, I'm facing rightward at the top left-hand corner of the right eye. So I need to turn, I should say, 90 degrees so that my Android is now facing down. And then I need to move 10 pixels, which will take me to the bottom left corner of the right eye. And then I need to move forward 2 additional times, which just gives me 20 pixels, because I want to get all the way down to where the right corner of my mouth should be. But remember, our Android is facing downward, so I want to turn 90 degrees to the right so that I'm now facing toward the left. And then I'm going to drop my pen down. Oops. And then I'm going to move forward 10 pixels. And then I'm going to pull my pen up. And then I'm going to move forward twice, 20 pixels. And then turn so that my Android is facing straight up once again. All right, so now what I'll do is, let me do this one more time. Let me go to Connect, AI Companion. And let me load this up so we can see our complete face as it's drawn. All right, let me switch over to the camera. All right, so there we go. I clear the screen, so we got a blank slate. So I hit Draw, and then let me hide the Android guy, and there we have our little face, our little robot face that we drew. All right, and again, reset, clears it. We draw it again, and it's there. I mean, obviously, I can move forward. I can drop my pen, and I could turn right, and I could, just like how an Etch-a-Sketch would, and, do whatever I need to do. I can manually draw, or by clicking the Draw button, I'm doing it automatically. All right, so this is obviously, rather than, it's still kind of a lot of code here. So there's ways that I can actually even refactor this down even more. Or even the code in my procedures here, there's ways that I can even refactor that more. And so like an example for that is I'm going to, let's take a look at this block of code right here, and let me zoom in a little bit. All right, so again, is it ideal to have, a forward turn, forward turn, forward turn, forward turn, in a block here? Is there a way that we can actually make this even better? And the answer is yes. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to create another procedure. All right, I'm going to grab this out here. Oops, I got to reset my connection quick. All right, and so in here, I'm going to call this, instead of square 10, I'll call this square 10 loop. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to implement a loop, and for it to basically do the same functionality rather than having to call all these procedures over and over and over. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come up here into my control built in. All right. If I go down here, we have our for loops over here. For each, and then from, to, and by, and so on and so forth. We're not doing the for loop for lists. We're not worrying about that one. We're not doing any while loops. We're not worrying about keys, dictionary keys. We're worrying about, just basically a standard loop that we're counting, numbers from this number to this number. So I want to grab this, all right, and what I want to do is I want to plug this into my square loop 10 over here. All right, so now let's make sense of what we got here. Well, as you can see, there's a repetition within my procedure here. I have a move forward and then returning. Move forward, returning. Move forward, returning. Move forward, returning. So we have 4 iterations of moving forward and then turning. So what I'm going to do is I need to have the forward and the turn calls. So I'm just going to duplicate them quickly. Control click and duplicate. And I'm going to put the forward here, and then the same thing with the turn, and duplicate, and then I'm going to call the turn. All right, and again, what this is saying now is that for every number from these values here, counting by however many over here, I need to move forward, and I need to then turn. All right, and I have to do this 4 times over. So we're always going to start with the first sequence. All right, so therefore I'm starting with the first forward and turn. And I do this a total of 4 times. So what I want to do is, instead of having the number 5 here, I want to click on this, and then I want to change I want to change this to the number 4. All right. And I want to increment, or I want to count by 1. Because if I count by more than 1, then we're not going to go through all 4 step sequences like we need to. All right. So what I can do now, instead of calling square 10 in the 2 places that I needed to, all right, I can call now square 10 loop, and that will basically do the same exact functionality that I needed to do. What I can do in certain areas here where I have some repetition, like 2 forwards or 3 forwards, 2 forwards over here, what I can do is I can create another procedure that's called forward 2 or forward 20, I should say, and then we can call that procedure. And every single time I do that, what it's allowing me to do, it's allowing me to basically refactor or make this block of code, which is still pretty lengthy as it is, shorten it up a lot a bit. So if I have 3 forwards here, I have 4 forwards here. So if I made a square 30, so to say, so let's just do that really quick. Let's pull this out. Let's rename this to square 30. So this will, actually I shouldn't use square, I should use line 30, because I'm only going to be drawing a line with this one. Line 30. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to need 3 of these forward calls here. So I want to duplicate this 2 additional times. And then I want to plug all 3 of these into my line 30. So now when I call this line 30 procedure, all right, I'm going to be able to move or draw a line that is 30 pixels long. So rather than having all 4 of these over here, right? What I'm technically going to do is I'm still going to need one of them, but I'm now going to call my line 30 call procedure instead, and I can get rid of these. All right, and then I'll plug this back in. All right, and we've effectively shortened our code by 2 lines. All right, because I'm now calling the line 30, which is now doing 3 move forwards here, plus this additional 4th one over here, which unfortunately there's no other 4 forward calls that are happening. But I have another 3 forward, forward, forward here. So what I can do is I can also grab another line 30. All right, and then I'm going to plug that into here. And then I want to get rid of those 3 forwards, because the line 30 basically does that for us. And I now shorten that block of code by an additional 2 lines. All right, so getting smaller, getting where we need it to be. I have 2 forwards here. I have 2 forwards here. So what I can do is, if I wanted to, I can create a line 20. And again, I could then shorten by 1 line here and 1 line here. A lot of the pen ups, pen downs, and stuff like that, there's nothing you can do about that. But again, as you remember what you saw, what it looked like initially compared to what it is now, this block of code here to draw is probably about 60 to 70% shorter than what it used to be. And so, you know, if I'm making comments on the programs that you are creating, and I keep using the word refactoring or using procedures, this is exactly what I'm talking about, because it is the way to go. It makes your life so much easier. Instead of seeing all that code that you saw at the start of this video, you know, now we've got it refactored down so that we have these additional procedures or these blocks of code, whether it be in procedure calls like we have here, or actually creating a loop to do the job. It both does the same thing. This over here, the loop, is the preferred method to go. But again, this is, you know, acceptable as well, because of the fact that we're just trying to shorten the overall code. All right, just to draw a little robot face. All right, so the importance of, you know, this new program is to expose you to, again, the importance of using procedures and how it can drastically shorten your code, and also now introducing you to the loop concept and how we can use loops to also refactor our code even more, because what we're doing is we're refactoring the refactored code, basically, is what it comes down to. We're making it that much shorter, because as you see, even though the block spacing is still almost the same as far as height is concerned, we now only have 2 lines of code instead of 8 lines of code. All right, so we're even shortening that code that much more. All right, so what I will do is I will cap it for today. There will be a new video this Thursday, actually, and it's going to be, we're going to start talking about some random number generation, and this one specifically is about a coin flip, and we're going to develop a little program to flip a coin, and then there's going to be an activity that you are going to do, you know, to discuss the random number generation. What is random number generation, and how does the random number generator within App Inventor pan out? And you've actually already been exposed to the random number generator when we did the Pong program. You call the random function, which is in right here, which is in the math tab, or the math component, I should say. So we'll kind of go into that a little bit more detail. Aside from that, I know Friday the 23rd is the midpoint. So like I said, we're not doing a midterm. We're just going to kind of roll through doing the unit tests every unit. There will be obviously a final, but the midpoint grades will go through. So if anyone is, you know, pushing late, obviously if you have a doctor's note, or if there's a situation that, you know, we've already discussed, you're fine. But make sure all work is turned in timely so I can get the grades updated and get your midterm grade posted as is. All right, so that being said, that'll conclude this video. Have an awesome day, folks. We will catch you in another one on Thursday. Take care. Good night.